My brother and I went to a bouldering gym in Chile, and this gym turned out to be incredibly sandbagged. We did 2 sessions in this gym in Puerto Montt, and beside having the max level at the gym being V7 V8, we got completely demolished compared to our usual gyms. Some V3s felt like V6, some V6 felt like V8s, and V8s felt like solid V10s. To start off our session, we went to this V3 to warm up, but it ended up being really hard for the grade because those crimps were shaped like outdoor holds. And don't get me wrong, these are really cool, and I wish we had them at my gym because I feel like it really does practice you for outdoors. But realistically, in an indoor bouldering gym, this is savage for a V3. This would get a V6 grade or at least a V5 grade in Canada's gyms. So our warm-up boulder ended up being a finger strength training, and we understood straight away that this gym had no mercy for the grades. Moving on to a V4 boulder, this one had a really interesting start because you start with a knee bar that if apparently you're too tall, it just doesn't fit. So I guess it's just a skill issue. So my brother could establish the starting position, and for my part, I just had to power through with a V10 grip strength. But after that, the boulder was not too bad. Compared to the monstrous V3 we did earlier, this one was in the V4, V5 range. So even though the slopers were not great, I think with good positioning, there's a way to make this boulder feel a lot easier. So grade-wise, it wasn't too bad. Height-wise, I feel discrimination. Okay, time to be ashamed now. This V6 still haunts me till this day. If you know me, you know that in dynamic moves, I'm not the best. Sometimes I can get away with it, but it depends on the landing position. In this case, you have to land your foot in a slippery volume and do a press with the left hand and somehow fit in that small box. I was about to complain on the boulder having a small box again, but my brother made it work, so I had no excuse.
Så bli. Ouais. C'est une prise à gauche, ouais.
I was actually really surprised to see that he flashed it. I feel like I found my weakness, and it's doing these press after doing a Lache move. And I'm not even kidding, it took me 2 sessions to get this boulder, and since the box felt really small for me, the only solution I came up with was putting an elbow instead of my palm. So this time I can't really comment on the grade since I'm really terrible when it comes to doing that movement. But either way, this was a pretty good practice for me, and even though it brought some frustration, I really liked the boulder. From now on, you'll only be seeing the hardest grade that was put in this gym at that moment, which was the V7 V8 tag, but more realistically, lots of them felt V9s and some V10s. For the first boulder of this grade, we got a comp style boulder. Never in my 22 years of existence have I seen a dyno this low into the ground, and as much as I hated it at first, I found it quite pleasant when I got it. The thing is, we would never have this type of setting in Canada, so I felt like I finally learned a new move. This move, however, I've suffered on it plenty of times, and this time was no exception. At first, I thought the first move was gonna be an issue, but then I realized that the second move was at least 2 times harder than the first one. But I finally understood how to do it, so I finally realized that the third move is 2 times harder than the second one. It was a realization of why is there such a comp style boulder in this small gym? I was questioning if I was just really bad or if there was like some really strong people that train in this gym. As it turns out, there is actually a couple of really strong people that train over there. One guy even making a World Cup. Anyways, at this point, I was getting the two first movements pretty consistently, but I was getting terribly humbled on the third move. And even though I tried to learn from my mistakes, I just kept falling and falling on the third move. So I fell so many times that I was getting tired of this boulder, and I actually just wanted to go home because it was really hot in the gym. Even though this is the Sandgo, I didn't really do anything special. And I know I'm supposed to teach something in this channel, but sometimes it's really about just execution and getting everything perfectly, so every move has to align. And with this comp kit boulder out of the way, we can finally move on to the next boulder. I know you guys missed these holds already, so just to give you flashbacks of that really hard V3, we're about to do a V7/V8 with the same holds. So since this boulder was in the new reset, I kinda knew the shape of these holds already because I suffered on the V3, and I'm actually pretty good when it comes to small crimps and outdoorsy type of holds, so I wanted to get a flash on this boulder. However, this move was really hard for me because there was no space to match the hold. Just to give you a close-up, this is what the hold looked like. It was really capped on the left side, so unless you have pretty tiny hands, it's hard to get a match on that hold. So I eventually got tired of it and just went left hand into the next hold, and it was a very weird movement. But like I said, I wanted to get a flash of this boulder and redeem myself from the yellow boulder that took me so long to get. So with that beta break, I could get the flash of this boulder. To continue with the comp style boulders, we're about to enter the hardest boulder of the gym, at least in my opinion. This first move was a big dynamic catch. So the hold is actually really good, but from the position you come from, it's hard to hold. And from that position, it's pretty hard to swing.
Oh my goodness. No, don't do that like that.
So the boulder felt really hard, but I eventually got this first move, and even though the second move was the hardest one, I was starting to get pretty close on it. Giving this boulder a V7/V8 grade is unfathomable in my opinion. So much that I had to use that word for the first time in my life.
Yes. Go on. Is it? Allez, détends-toi. Yes. Easy.
Moving on to the next boulder. Once again, we have another dynamic movement, and this time it's a toe hook catch. And once again, I am trash at it. This gym has lots of dynamic moves, as you previously saw. So compare it to Canada's gym that have mostly strength-based type of boulders, lots of crimps. In this gym, the moves are low percentage, so the moves are easy to fall on. But once you understand the move, you can get it more consistently, and the move doesn't feel as bad as it seems from the beginning. However, since I'm a stupid monkey, I did not read the rest of the boulder, so when I got to this section, I fell off pathetically. In the meantime, my brother also understood the move, and with rental shoes, he could stick that toe hook catch. So I don't want to hear any of you complain about your shoes. Okay, these are not the actual rental shoes we have in Canada, but still.
Oh, go, 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 go. Pied à gauche. Ah. Non mais t'as pied à gauche. Non.
At the end, he was starting to act like an actual rental shoe climber, so he couldn't complete the boulder. And in the meantime, I could steal all the beta from my brother. So the moral of this boulder, I guess rental shoes climbers can still give me beta.
Yep.
Another V7/V8 boulder was this pink boulder, and it got us really confused at first. Just look at this Machiavellian foothold. It should be illegal to have these footholds and having rental shoes at the same time. After lots of falls and stupid mistakes, we found out that putting a toe hook on the left side, or in my case a heel hook, was better to match that small pinch and go on the right side. However, there was no way that I was stepping again into that terrible foothold, so we just lift our foot up and somehow this beta worked to go statically into that compression. That beta break made the boulder a lot easier, and instead of doing one beta break, 2 beta breaks is just funnier. So we skipped the whole boulder on the right side and went straight up to that pinch and finally completed the boulder like the new beta break climbers we are. Before getting to the last boulder, I'll present you the only V7/V8 there was in the slab section. And surprise, surprise, this was another comp style type of boulder. Once again, there was low percentage moves that made this boulder very easy to fall on. And since this boulder is a little more boring to watch, I just condensed the attempt where we got the boulder, so you can just see how this boulder was and what beta we used. Like using the edge of a hold like a classic reachy person instead of doing a huge dynamic movement. And the end of this boulder was weird because the angle of the wall changes, and when I decided to go left hand, the movement was just too difficult. So instead, my brother found out that matching the second to last hold was the easier way, and he could complete the boulder. So once again, I just followed the beta of my brother, and I could complete this boulder too, so we moved on to the last boulder of the gym. If you're a real fan and stayed until this ending, this is the last boulder of the gym, another V7/V8/ absolutely V9 in Canada. And this boulder was very, very long, so after a few hours of bouldering, we were getting pretty tired, and it was starting to show. I don't know why they started this boulder so low, but there was like 3 sections of this boulder, and this was the middle section with the weird looking undercling balls. So this first ball was terrible, and you had to grab it with double undercling. The second ball, however, is pretty good and almost feels like a jug. However, to get to the second ball, you have to take that small ball, and the position is really awkward to launch. Eventually, my brother found a beta that was a lot more static. So with that second section being done, there was only the last one, and it doesn't get easier.
No. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
But of course, we were climbing really badly because eventually I found this beta that worked a lot better for ending this boulder.
Ah, t'es bien, t'es bien. Ah ouais. Ah ouais.
This was probably the boulder that we worked on the most, and after finally understanding what to do at the end, I started the boulder from the beginning and tried to move as fast as possible because this boulder was taking lots of energy, and after 2 hours of bouldering, we were getting pretty exhausted, so each try was very important to not waste any energy.
Oh, come on, vas-y. Allez. Allez, go on. Go on. No, no.
After my miserable attempt, my brother also decided to do the boulder from the beginning.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Ouais. Nice, come on. Allez, 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 allez.
We were really cooked at this point, but I decided to give it one more try because for me especially, that was the only boulder left in the gym.
Come on. Come on. Yep.
My brother also decided to give one last attempt, but at this point, the fatigue was at another level.
Ouais, t'es bien, t'es bien. Non, c'était ça. Je voyais venir.
So this wraps up our sessions at the gym in Chile. So after suffering in every single V7, V8, I could finally clear the gym. And my final verdict is, I suck at comp style boulders.